with Rock Creek Pharmacy, and this is our next episode of Spilling the Tea. And again, we have our amazing students here with us today. This is Paola, and say hello to Tide. And they have me as a presenter on this, but all I'm really going to be doing is talking because they created this whole thing. So kudos to them for doing that hard work. So today our tea is all about salt and how it affects blood pressure. And we're going to talk a lot about why blood pressure is so important to us health-wise and how we can mitigate any kind of issue by controlling our salt intake. So what exactly is high blood pressure? So blood pressure is the force of blood on the vessels. So as you probably can tell, you have to have a certain force that's normal, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And if you go above that force and it gets too high, you are high risk for heart disease, heart attack, and stroke. So there's two types of what we call long H word hypertension, which is another fancy way to say high blood pressure. There's primary hypertension or high blood pressure, and that is where it's not related to any other disease. It's just something that's genetic. You were born with it, and the cause is unknown, other than the fact that you have it in your family. Secondary hypertension is related to a medical condition like diabetes, obesity, thyroid, sleep apnea. And there are medications that can also increase your blood pressure. A lot of people, I didn't realize that NSAIDs, nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, and Tylenol can really do it. Decongestants can do it. We talked about that last week about how decongestants can constrict those vessels to try to help open you up. And when they constrict them, guess what? They cause increase in blood pressure. And then, of course, anything that we're going to talk about, like salt really causes that to increase. So anything that contains sodium. So blood pressure ranges, this is just a snapshot of what is healthy. So healthy or great blood pressure, what we want to see is anything less than 120/80. Now the top number is the systolic pressure. The bottom number is the diastolic pressure. Both are very important. And you notice that as these numbers get higher, we get into trouble. So we'll see that anything below 130, top number is elevated. Until 120, less than 120, between 120 and 130 is elevated. And then your stage 1 would be anything that's 130 to 139 systolic, and then 80 to 89 diastolic. Stage 2 hypertension is when we get to 140 or 90, or 140/90, essentially. And both of these numbers don't have to match. You could have like someone that has 140/80, and that would still be considered a stage 2. And then what we would call a hypertension crisis or a blood pressure crisis is if that top number is over 180 and the bottom number is over 120. So that's just something for your reference to know exactly how to relate it, so if you are high, low, or normal. So there are foods, believe it or not, that are harmful to blood pressure, and these are foods that contain salt. Now, why is salt such a big deal? Well, whenever we eat salt, we hold fluid, and that fluid causes our pressure on our vessels, and that's why the blood pressure increases. So canned foods, and so examples would be soup and peas, frozen dinners like frozen pizza, pretzels, snack food, anything with salt on it like salty crackers, packaged starchy food like instant mashed potatoes, baking biscuits, mixes like your biscuits and things like that. Deli meats and cheeses are big, like like your hot dogs and things like that. Sausages, cured or smoked meat. So all of those things are highly salted, and that can increase your blood pressure just by eating those. So we have here several categories of foods that are great and healthy for you and your blood pressure. So let's dive into these. So vegetables and fruits are great. Now keep in mind that you're going to look at all these and you're going to think, well, what's to tie these in? Well, they're all whole. They're all natural. So all of these fruits and vegetables are good for you. They've got high fiber. They have probably they have water content. Water's great for us. So these foods are going to be good. They're very, we don't want to add any salt to them, but they definitely don't have salt that's already been processed and added to them. So they're great. You can see that there's some broccoli, spinach, carrots, fruit like tangerines, bananas, papaya, things like that. And then your whole grains, you can see rice, popcorn, crackers. Now, keep in mind, those are not salted. So these are some good snacks. You've got oatmeal and whole wheat bread. Those are great things. Proteins like fresh fish or even like frozen fish, don't have anything. Chicken, steak, unsalted nuts, and eggs. And then your dairy. So when we're thinking dairy, we're thinking like things unsalted, milk, unsalted cheese, soy milk, almond milk, things like that. So Paola and Todd put together some tips for you guys for changing your eating habits. And my head is covering some of those right there on A. But I think basically what A was saying was gradually taking anything that we listed that, we kind of considered unhealthy and like moving it and changing it towards healthy, like making those changes and doing those slowly. You don't have to go fast, but just like maybe one goal at a time. Stay hydrated and drink water. Water is your friend. It's great for you. And then their recommendations to you guys are to eat more fruits and vegetables. Limit fast food and takeout. That is loaded with salt. You can limit salt intake or pouring salt on food by using more herbs and spices and using like low sodium salt substitutes like even Himalayan pink salt or kosher salt. All right, guys, that's it for this week. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week and stay healthy. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks. Bye bye.